Hello guys and welcome to Odds on Copa Libertadores. We are back with the last 16 round. We have Leo Bachanian. We are not on holiday, so enjoy the video, leave your comments, press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. We are back. We are not in holidays because we have Copa Libertadores, the last 16 round with Leo Bachanian, our South American specialist. How are you, Leo?
Hi, Edu. What a pleasure to be back this time with the Copa Libertadores.
We analyzed last year actually these knockout stages, and we are gonna do exactly the same this season. So let's start with the game. Emelec Atletico Mineiro is the first one we have in this last 16 round. Atletico Mineiro, one of the biggest favorites to win the tournament, together with Palmeiras, and they are also, Leo, super favorites. We are not going to see these low odds for an away team in this show. 1.87 for Mineiro, fourth in Serie A, playing against an Ecuadorian team. We all know that usually the Ecuadorian teams are not great, although last season we were surprised actually by an Ecuadorian team, and they show some strength before. For instance, you saw also the 7-0 victory against Independiente, for instance, to qualify for this round.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. The Ecuadorians, Edu, they didn't do very well in the first stage of their country's Serie A that finished a few weeks ago and was won by Barcelona. Emelec, this other big Guayaquil team, finished 7th. Very far from the expectations they set at the beginning of the season. It's a club that nowadays, before facing Atletico Mineiro, Edu, at the board level, the team is also not in a very pleasant position because there will be some elections soon for a new president, and one of the favorites is already telling the manager, the Spanish Ismael Rescalvo, listen, if I win, you are out. He's saying this before of last 16 encounter of Copa Libertadores. But despite this context, the team had a good group stage performance. In Group A, of course, they stood no chance against Palmeiras in terms of competing for the first spot of the group, but they managed to entertain their own fans in the last match in order to qualify, as you say, when they defeated Independiente Petrolero 7-0 to finish with 8 points, one clear of Deportivo Táchira from Venezuela. The main threat that Emelec has is Sebastián Rodríguez, who has 5 goals to his name so far. Although what they will need is definitely a good defensive display. In that regard, they can build from the fact that against Palmeiras in Sao Paulo, they lost, yes, but only 1-0 to a team that managed to score 25 goals in 6 games. So, and then on the other hand, the current Brazilian champions are trying to rediscover, I believe, their best shape, Edu. They are trailing Palmeiras for 7 points in the Brasileirao, and the manager, the Argentinian Antonio Mohamed, was on the line actually just recently last weekend. However, they secured a win against Flamengo at home on the weekend, and everything seemed to calm down. They were top of Group D. Yes, job done in that regard, but also true that only managed that to be first in their group on goal difference over Deportes Tolima from Colombia. So they make only 11 points out of possible 18. But the team that has Hulk, Nacho Fernandez, Junior Alonso, Edu Vargas are favorites, yes, to go through to the quarterfinals. I don't expect, Edu, many goals here. Mm-hmm. That is why goals under 2.5 with odds of 1.86 looks fine for me. I will then look to both teams to score market. My answer for that is no. I don't expect both teams to score. And if you go with that option, that comes with odds of 1.91. And lastly, a combined one that also sounds good. Atletico Mineiro to win, and under 4.5 goals, which comes with odds of 2.
Well, especially if you don't expect many goals, Mineiro to win only is 1.87. They should be considered favorite from Atletico Mineiro to Atletico Paranaense playing at home against Club Libertad. We saw this game actually in the group stages. In that game in Curitiba, Paranaense won 2-0. Actually, Libertad, the Paraguayan team, they haven't won away yet in this Libertadores. So again, Leo, the bookies place the Brazilian team as favorite.
Yes, absolutely. There is a big gap, no, in terms of the of what the odds suggest. We have a very recent head-to-head, as you said. In Asunción was Libertad who took the 3 point in the group stage with a 1-0. In Brazil last month, Paranaense won the game with a 2-0. Although, you know, Libertad on that game dominated possession, made more passes than Paranaense, and had more shot on target on the night. That's why, for me, having watched most of Libertad games in the group stage, although I still believe and I agree that the Brazilians are favorites to go through to the quarterfinals, by watching the games between these two teams, I didn't have the feeling that the gap is as big as the odds suggest. But yes, I agree. Paranaense are the favorite. And actually, I will start with bad news for Libertad. They have just lost their best player and possibly one of the most exacting youngster that Paraguayan football produced in the last 10 or 15 years, because Julian Ciso is traveling to the Premier League to join Brighton and Hove Albion. And unless a compromise is found for him to be allowed to play at least the last 16, something which I cannot see it coming, then I believe it's going to be a bit tasky for Daniel Garnero's team to qualify for the quarterfinals. And Ciso is only 18 years old, but to give you an idea of how good this talent is, he made his Copa Libertadores debut in 2020 at the age of 16, and he scored a beautiful goal on that night. In Paranaense bench, we have a very familiar face with Luis Felipe Scolari, someone who of course knows how to win one thing or two, a Copa Libertadores or a World Cup. They are doing well in the Brasileirao. They won actually last weekend away from home. They are sitting third on the table after 13 fixtures play. Scolari must be happy that some important players like the number 10 David Terán are finding their form at the right time. Terán scored 1 goal and assisted 2 in the group stage, and he's showing good displays at the Brasileirao lately. So in here, Edu, I will look at 3 things: a win for Atletico Paranaense at 1.9, an Asian handicap of -1 for Paranaense, which comes with odds of 2.6, and also a clean sheet for the Brazilians with odds of 2.3.
Felipao, 73 years old, for Felipao. What a legend, not a youngster, of course, anymore. Next game is a legend as well, one of the most interesting one, and we saw also this game in the group stages in the Copa Libertadores. I'm talking about Corinthians, Boca Juniors. They both faced in the previous round. Corinthians was in Brazil. They weren't. Also, Boca was not able to beat them in La Bombonera. So with this taken in consideration, Leo, also with the good start of the competition in the Brazilian Serie A for Corinthians, they are second. Yes. I'm not sure if you agree also with the odds, placing Corinthians that favorite, or Boca Juniors with their know-how, they can be dangerous in these knockout stages.
It's going to be a tight one. They do have the know-how, but also Corinthians, they have very experienced players. Edu Casio, the goalkeeper, won the competition in 2012 with Corinthians actually, and against Boca in the final. They have, let's not forget, they have Willian, the former Chelsea and Arsenal winger on the team. But for example, when they face each other in the group stage in Sao Paulo, when Corinthians won 2-0, on the night they were better, but also Boca was a very different Boca Juniors that we are seeing now in the last 2 months. And when they drew 1-1 in La Bombonera, believe me, Boca deserved much better on that night. They outplayed Corinthians, and they had many good clear chances to actually win the game. And because they drew, they needed to wait to the last fixture of the group stage against Deportivo Cali to win and then to confirm their qualification. It's going to be also a tight one, Edu, because we need to remind ourselves that CONMEBOL has aligned itself with UEFA, and there is no away rules from this edition anymore. And they are doing both better in their domestic leagues now than what they have shown in the group stage. For instance, they both scored only 5 goals in 6 games. However, the recent form is different. Corinthians, you mentioned second in Brasileirao, only 3 points behind Palmeiras, and they won 3 of their last 5 matches. And Boca not only won 4 of their last 5, but they also, a couple of days before facing Deportivo Cali, they secured another domestic title in Argentina, and they have started the new campeonato in Argentina also very good, in a good form. When they faced each other in April, Sebastián Battaglia, the Boca Juniors manager, was about to be sacked. But then the team started to find their form, especially because of Sebastián Villa's display. The Colombian winger is today the best player in the Argentinian league. Battaglia can also boost the performances of Ezequiel Ceballos, a 20-year-old winger who is having an amazing season. Boca has goals in Benedetto, who came back to the club in January after not a very successful European tour, but he proved his worth in Boca when he took the team to the final with vital goals in 2019, actually scoring twice in the semi-final and one in the final in Madrid against River. And in this edition, he has already 3 goals to his name. So again, I expect, Edu, a very tight one. I will look for both teams to score with odds of 2.2. I will also pay special attention for a double chance for Boca, Edu, at 1.71. A draw or a win there for Boca. And also Corinthians scoring first when playing at home is something that you could count on it most of the times. And the odds for Corinthians to score first against Boca Juniors, the odds are 1.8.
Okay, Corinthians really favorite, but this is one of the most interesting clash. Remember that Boca top the group with 10 points. Corinthians fell behind with 9 points. Very interesting one, very balanced one. The next one on the other side is a one-side tie, I would say, Leo, one of the clearest, in my opinion. Cerro Porteno against Palmeiras. Palmeiras, another favorite, big favorite to win the Copa Libertadores. Actually, we checked the odds in Oddspedia. They are the top favorites together with Atletico Mineiro. Also top in the Brasileirao, playing against a team from Paraguay. Leo, 1.7 for Palmeiras. You also have no doubt about Palmeiras winning here?
Absolutely, no doubt about Palmeiras winning here. Is a repeat of the 2018 last 16 encounter between these 2 teams. Palmeiras, they are the main favorite to win it for the 3rd time in a row, this competition, the Copa Libertadores. The last team to do something like that was Independiente from Argentina, but that was between 1972 and 1974, and they actually won 4 straight Libertadores, because then they won it again in 1975. So basically, Abel Ferreira's Palmeiras are in course of making history. They took 18 points in Group A, scoring 25 times. Record in the Libertadores group stage for a team to score 25 times, an average of more than 4 goals per game. Of their last 19 matches in all competitions, they won 15 and drew 4. They haven't lost a Libertadores match in their last 14 games, winning 11 of those 14 matches. They won the Campeonato Paulista in April, thrashing Sao Paulo 4-0 in the final. They are top of the Brasileirao now, and they defeated Sao Paulo again last weekend away from home. So absolutely favorites I will give you two names, Edu. Rafael Navarro and Rafael Veiga, who were unstoppable in the group stage. Navarro is the goal scorer actually of the competition with 7, whereas Veiga is second on the list with 6 goals in 4 matches. Plus he's also second in terms of assists with 4. Either of them can definitely become the Golden Boot winner of this Libertadores. In the last 10 years, the maximum for a Golden Boot winner was 11 goals. That was last year edition with Gabriel Barbosa, Gabigol, scoring 11. But they could actually do more than that, no doubt about it. I mentioned the 2019 head-to-head as the most recent, played in Asunción, and in that time, Palmeiras also won it on the day 0-2 thanks to a brace of Miguel Borja, the Colombian, who is actually now very close to sign for River Plate. And then in the case of Cerro Porteno, Edu, they're second in Paraguay, first division, but I don't think their fans will be very upset if they are knocked out, not only because they have Palmeiras in front, but because they have done the main job in the group stage.
Kick it out, which was Olympia.
Exactly. They took out Olympia, Cerro's oldest rivalry, out of the last 16. For them, I believe, job is done. So in this case, the odds of 5.3 on Cerro Porteño, I believe, are more than justified what the odds are looking at. I will look for an Asian handicap of -1 for Palmeiras, which has odds of 2.3. And also goals over 2.5. That comes with odds of 2.15.
I remember when we were analyzing the final of the Copa Libertadores last season, that we didn't count Palmeiras as favorite, and at the end they beat Flamengo, but right now they are considered the best team in the continent. So this is one-sided. Leo, this is the next one, a full Argentinian last 16 game, Talleres de Cordoba, Colón, two teams that they are not very used to play in these stages of the Copa Libertadores. Only 4 points in Argentina for Talleres, 5 for Colón, so they didn't start the season great. For Talleres, they finished the group second behind Flamengo. Colón was able to top their group with 10 points ahead of Cerro Porteño and Olympia. What do you expect? This is another balanced one, Very tricky to know the outcome of this tie.
Exactly. You know, when I was preparing this one, I was having this feeling. It's always when you have two teams from the same country, it's a little bit more difficult, I believe, to predict, but especially when those teams from that same country are actually on a similar level, because this is not like, I don't know, Talleres or Colón playing River Plate, for example, who is or Boca, who are two of the best teams in Argentina. They are at a very similar level. They both are not used to these kind of stages of a Copa Libertadores. Actually, it's the second time in history for Colón only that they are playing the Copa Libertadores. The last time they played, and the only time they played, that was back in 1998, and they reached the quarterfinal when they lost against River Plate, which actually could be waiting again in that stage, because the winner of this tie will play then the winner of Velez and River Plate in the last 8, basically securing at least one Argentinian team in the semifinals. Talleres did well, as you said, in Group H, finishing behind Flamengo with 11 points. Actually, Talleres took more points than Colón, who was top of Group G with 10 points. The last 3 times they faced each other in the Mario Alberto Kempes Stadium in Cordoba, the house of Talleres. They won 1 each and they drew the other. The man worth watching in this tie is Colón young forward Facundo Farias. He was very close to join Boca Juniors in January. Juan Román Riquelme is a big admirer of the player, who scored 3 goals in the group stage. And then in Julio Falcioni, they have a manager, Colón, with lots of experience in the Libertadores, both as a player and also as a coach. Although it's tight, difficult to predict, I believe the upper hand is with Colón. I do not think we will see either Talleres or Colón taking a big advantage to the second leg, which everything is going to be decided, I believe, in the second leg in Santa Fe. So goals under 2.5 are low but realistic, I believe, at 155. And a draw is what I will be looking for this one. The odds for a draw, they're higher in this case, but I believe it's what I can expect. I repeat, at 3.20.
From a very balanced one, the Argentinian clash, to another one that is quite one-sided. Leo, Deportes Tolima, Flamengo. Last season you were telling me that Flamengo was the best team in the continent and they arrived to the final. Now they are looking well in the Libertadores, topping their group with 16 points, but so in the Brasileirao. They have an important injury with Bruno Henrique. So are they weaker, Leo, than last season? Will they have trouble to win in Colombia?
I don't think so. They will have trouble to go through to the quarterfinals, but it won't be easy in Colombia. Deportes Tolima, Edu, is the current champions in Colombia. They qualify for their third final in a row in their domestic league. They're gonna play actually the next few days against Atletico Nacional to see if they could be champions there again. They had a good group stage, sharing the group with the Atletico Mineiro. They finished with the same amount of points, and they only were second because of goal difference, but they won against Atletico Mineiro in Brazil, away from home. And this Flamengo, they still have the same players than last season, but they dropped the level a lot. Let's not forget that in January they got a new manager in Paulo Sousa, the Portuguese, who was with the Spanish coach Victor Sanchez. They left the Polish national team. They left the Polish national team, who was awaiting to play the playoff to qualify for the World Cup, but to show how big is Flamengo, how tentative for some manager it is to come to Rio and coach this team. But they couldn't last even 6 months. Not because of what they done in the Libertadores, that in the end they took 16 points out of 18, which is actually very good. But the performances in the Brasileirao has been very, very disappointing. They are 14th on the table, despite having a team full of stars. Still, Gabigol, still there. Bruno Henrique, yes, injured, it's true, but still there. De Arrascaeta is there. David Luiz is there. And now they have a new signing. Okay, they don't have Bruno Henrique, but they have a new signing in Everton Suarez, or the little onion, as he's known back in Brazil. Flamengo paid 14 million euros to Benfica to bring him to Rio de Janeiro. That's the level of economic firepower of Brazilian teams nowadays. Everton is a top winger with many caps with the Verde Amarela, and more importantly, he knows the competition very well because he won the Libertadores with Gremio in 2017. But Flamengo, although favorite for this side, they cannot go to Colombia thinking that this is gonna be an easy ride. At least that's what I expect. I expect both teams to score, Edu, in Colombia, with odds of 1.8, and also goals over 2.5 and 1.95. And if you fancy the surprise of Tolima, a double chance for the Colombian champions, has also 1.92, Edu.
Little onion, el cebollita, no? Like
exactly.
Maradona.
There you go.
Of course.
As well.
Talking about Maradona, let's go to Argentina again. Another full Argentinian tie. Velez Sarsfield against River Plate. Bad start of the season for both teams, actually, in Argentina. 4 points for Velez, 5 for River in 4 games. But when we are talking about Libertadores, Leo, the know-how is always on the side of River Plate. That's why they are even favorites to win this game. They finished their group with 16 points. And as we all remember, with that last game against Alianza Lima, 8 goals, 6 of them scored by Julián Álvarez, but not anymore in River, of course.
Yeah, but he will play this tie, Edu. He will play this tie, and then he moves to Manchester to join Pep Guardiola in Manchester City. I remember when River last edition of the Copa Libertadores had to face also another Argentinian team. In that case was Argentino Juniors, and in the preview I remember saying, of course, yes, River was the favorite even before playing the first leg at home, and they lost that match, and then he needs to qualify winning away from home in Argentinos Junior Stadium. because again, when two teams from the same country are facing each other, everything gets a little bit more tricky. For Marcelo Gallardo, there might be a night of deja vu, Edu, going to the Amalfitani Stadium for the Libertadores clash against Velez, because an 18-year-old Gallardo scored from the penalty spot in 1995 in that stadium to send River to the semifinals of a Copa Libertadores. When you look at the performance in the group stage, you are entitled not only to think that River are favorites for this tie, but also favorites to compete with Palmeiras for the trophy. However, as has been the case almost every season, River is losing players at crucial time, and the Julian Alvarez leaving after the last 16 could be a massive handicap for them. Yes, he scored 6 goals in 6 games, although all of them in one match, as you mentioned, in that 8-1 against Alianza Lima. We will see if they also are about to lose Enzo Fernandez, who is nowadays their best midfielder. Everything is set up apparently with Benfica, but they will see if they manage to keep him until the end of the Copa Libertadores. The good news for River Plate is that Juanfer Quintero, the Colombian magician, is fit again and should play a big role in this tie. Velez Sarsfield managed to go through to the last 16 in the last fixture of their group against Estudiantes, another Argentinian team. They trashed them 4-0, but that night Estudiantes, who was already qualified before playing Velez Sarsfield, gave them a massive hand by playing a team full of youngsters, and Velez took advantage of that, and they managed to win 4-0 and qualify. Velez Sarsfield is a team also, Edu, full of young players. That's why they are trying to find some experience in Lucas Prato. That is going to be an emotional night for some players like Lucas Prato. Lucas Prato won the Copa Libertadores with River Plate in 2018, and now he's going to be wearing the armband in the Amalfitani for Velez. And they also just added to this very young team the experience and the know-how of someone called Diego Godin, who is a new addition for Velez Sarsfield. So the Uruguayan as well could help this group of youngsters. I expect a tight game. That's why I'm looking at halftime result, Edu. I expecting a draw at halftime. That comes with odds of 2. Following this, I will look at the second half being the half with most goals, which has odds of 2.1, and finally an Asian handicap of minus 0.5 for River Plate, that comes with odds of 2.16.
Leo, I want to ask you about Julian Alvarez. Do you think this is a good addition for Man City? We shouldn't expect many things from him in his first season in Europe, or he's ready to land and play already some games in the Premier League?
No, I think he's ready to go and play, especially if Sterling and Gabriel Jesus are on the way out. That as well shows that they have confidence in who's coming, in this case, Julian, a part, of course, of Haaland. But I think he can play straight away on the team. He can operate behind the striker. He can operate as a striker. He can play on the side as a winger or a second forward. They're gonna need to work with him, I believe, physically to adapt to the Premier League, but they are taking a great player. I have full confidence on him having a good season in the Premier League almost straight away.
Good, Leo. So only one game is missing to analyze. Fortaleza Estudiantes de La Plata. Fortaleza, when we were analyzing last season, Serie A was one of the biggest surprises, but now they are one of the worst teams in Brazil, if we are talking about the Brasileira, with only 10 points. In Libertadores, they came second after River Plate. So perhaps Estudiantes can give them a headache, no? In Brazil, why not? They did good in their group in the Libertadores, finishing with 13 points. We have very high odds for Estudiantes. Do you think this could be a surprise?
I think Estudiantes will take the best in the second leg when they play at home. You know, that's when they to be honest, they are very strong with their people in that stadium. The new stadium they have, the new house, which is small, but you can feel the presence of the fans. So playing in Brazil and watching Estudiantes lately playing away from home, I believe that for this first leg, yes, Fortaleza in Brazil are favorites. Although I believe that the Estudiantes have a massive opportunity to get to the quarterfinals, but we need to wait another week after the first leg and waiting for Estudiantes to play at home. Even though Fortaleza are the Cenicienta in a way, because they are debutants in the Libertadores, Edu. They never played in the competition before. They have done it very well in the group stage, sharing with River, Colo-Colo from Chile, and Alianza Lima from Peru in Group F. Actually, they secured qualification by winning in Santiago against Colo-Colo. In Silvio Romero, they have an experienced center forward who may not be firing in terms of goals, but he's a very smart player and knows how to improve the players that surround him. One of them is Iago Pikachu, who scored 2 goals and had 4 assists in the group stage, and is someone who the Pincharratas should pay special attention. Of course, this Copa Libertadores adventure is having its dark side domestically for Juan Pablo Boxboda, because, as you said, the team are in relegation places in the Brasileirao. And Estudiantes, and why I believe that they're like favorites in terms of putting a foot in the quarterfinals, is because they're a giant of this competition. They won it 4 times. The last one in 2009. They top their group despite having that loss 4-0 in the last fixture of the group stage against Velez Alfian. If Estudiantes needs to look out for Pikachu, Fortaleza needs to pay attention to Agustin Rogel, who scored 4 goals in 9 games for the Pincharratas. I'm saying 9 because Estudiantes play more than the 6 group stage matches, because they also had to play another 3 qualification games before. I will look for goals over 2.5 for this tie, which comes with odds of 2.25, more than for this tie for this leg. And Fortaleza to win comes with odds of 2.21 to win at home. Then what's going to happen in La Plata a week after playing in Fortaleza, I believe could be different. But for this time, goals over 2.5 with odds of 2.25, and Fortaleza to win, odds of 2.21 are not bad.
All right, we will analyze when the time comes also that game in La Plata. But before we finish the video, Leo, I'm sure we have also an ACCA for this match day.
Yeah, and for sure you're ready for my usually high numbers when it comes. Yes, when it comes to an ACCA. And this one won't be an exception, Edu. I can guarantee you that. Okay, let's go. Atletico Mineiro to win and under 4.5 goals. I will also choose an Asian handicap of -1 for Palmeiras in their game against Cerro Porteno. I will go for the double chance for Boca Juniors playing in Sao Paulo against Corinthians. Under 2.5 goals in that all-Argentinian tie between Talleres and Colón. And in the other all-Argentinian tie between Velez and River, I will go for a draw at halftime. This leaves you and me. Yes, so this leaves you and me with an ACCA of 31.2.
Let's see. One, you just
that silence killed me, Edu.
Exactly. You just need to back one in the whole season, and then you can retire and go on holidays. Thank you, Leo. Pleasure to see you.
My pleasure to be back. See you next time.
Another huge ACCA from Leo. Let me know what you think about his tips. He knows a lot about South American football. It's always a pleasure to learn from him. Leave your comments, press the like, subscribe, and remember also that we have a podcast in case you want to listen to our videos. Bye bye.